So our theme for today, like we said, we're talking about Copilot for legal teams specifically, and how you can turn contract chaos into confidence. So we'll go over the agenda briefly. Basically, I'm going to give you kind of an overview of if you're working in law today and you're managing contracts, you're creating contracts, what kind of challenges are you dealing with in 2025? And why did we build Copilot? How does it help you? Then Zach, as we said, is going to give you a live demo. So we'll go into Concord and he'll show you how Copilot works, some of the practical things that people are doing with it today already. We will also have live Q&A. So if you have questions as we're going, so as I'm talking or as Zach is demoing Copilot, don't be shy. Just drop them in the chat, like we said, or drop them in the Q&A right here in Zoom. We'll conclude the demo first, but on a rolling basis, we'll go ahead and answer your questions after that. So Zach and Blake are both very happy to answer any questions you have. Don't be shy. Don't be a stranger. Just let us know, and we will get to them. We promise. And then at the end, we'll give you a sneak peek into what's next as well. So with that said, why are we here today? It's hard out there for a lawyer. As I mentioned, I used to practice law, and a lot of the pressures that were around when I was a lawyer are just amplified today. So in this line of work, you're reviewing every contract line by line, word by word. You need to make sure you're leaving no stone unturned. But there's a lot of pressure in terms of the resources you have at your disposal, and specifically headcount. Nobody's budgets are going up to hire more team members, more associate GCs, more legal ops managers, more paralegals. But you're still expected to do more with the resources you have, and sometimes even more with less. So how do you do that? You have review bottlenecks piling up. You have sometimes people are going around legal, sending outdated templates. They're signing third-party paper from vendors that hasn't been approved. It has bad clauses in it. So how do you handle that? How do you make sure that you can give everything the attention it needs, and really serve the rest of the business as a trusted strategic partner, but not be viewed as a bottleneck, right? You need a way to scale your legal operations. And so that is why we're introducing AI Copilot. So Copilot, and I have it here that we're cutting review time in half. Practically speaking, we're seeing even better results than that in terms of how much time it shaves off, because we're eliminating the constant scrolling, trying to remember where the heck in this specific agreement is this clause, what clause number is it. You don't need to keep hitting Control and F and looking for the precise wording, trying to remember exactly how this clause is labeled in this agreement. You can just get straight to the information you need and get straight to the analysis. And not just finding the clauses, but also understanding what's in them. So getting quick summaries and explanations of what's in the clause, in the clause, not having to decipher all the typical legalese, just getting a plain language summary, the same way you would provide to one of your colleagues, or let's say if you have an associate or paralegal running a search for you, the same way they describe it to you. It's just the same way a human would describe what's in this clause. You can get that kind of explanation really quickly from Copilot. And anybody can use it. You don't need to be an engineer. It's as easy as using ChatGPT or Slack. So if you can type a question into ChatGPT, if you can ping somebody on Slack, you can use Copilot. So with that said, yep. Sorry. With that said, Zach, I'm going to go ahead and stop presenting, and I will let you go ahead and jump into the demo environment.
Cool. That sounds good. It's not letting me share. Oh, there we go. Maybe that. We good? Can you see my screen?
We're good. We can see it.
Yep.
Perfect. I don't know why that popped up some weird message. Great. Yeah, let's jump into Concord here. Hopefully everyone on the call has seen Concord before. Works with it. If you haven't, reach out to me and I'm happy to give you a demo and get you access to the system. So Copilot right now can be access through the document level. So what I mean by that is you go into any document in the system, whether you're working on a new document as a draft or you've uploaded a document that's already been signed, you're going to see that Copilot up here at the very top right. One thing I do want to mention, I see a lot of people on this call that I'm very familiar with. I know your accounts well. Some of you don't have Copilot enabled on your account yet because you don't have the AI plan on your account. If that's something you're interested in after this call, please reach out to me. I will also post my link later and also my email so you can reach out. So I'd love to do a quick account assessment with you and we can talk about how to get it activated. So the reason I say that is if you don't see this now in your plan, that's the reason why. So we just need to have a quick conversation. So it's up here at the top right. It's in that side panel and that's going to pop open. Now I do have some prompts here that we're going to run through that are by default, not by default, that are here. We do have a few default prompts. So as you can see, what are the risks associated, summarize the payment structure, and review the parties involved in their responsibility. So there's some pretty good prompts, but let's go ahead and post a couple other prompts here. So in this case, what are this contract's payment terms and termination clauses? So the Copilot is actually going to review that document for you, and it's going to give you a nice response here of that information. One thing to note, and a lot of people have this question, it does work perfectly well with PDFs as well as Word docs. Because with any PDF in Concord, we are going to run it through that OCR first. The OCR is going to create the straight text copy of the document, and then the AI uses that OCR version to be able to do the data extraction as well as enable the Copilot to, access the document. So it's going to give us this nice response here. So you can obviously quickly assess, any of this information that you need to see within the contract. Let's go ahead and ask it another question here. I'm just going to prompt it, and then I'm also going to talk about what we do with those prompts and a few other things, but let's go ahead and just do this. So this question is, does the force majeure clause say anything about tariffs in this contract? And so it's coming back and telling us, no, it doesn't say anything about that, but it is going to highlight the things that it does cover. It's going to, beyond reasonable control, natural disasters, war, terrorism, all these different things. So maybe we wanted to write us some language about that, right? So wow, it's the end of the day and all of a sudden I cannot type. Includes language about.
And Zach, maybe while you're typing that, I have an important question that I'll get to in the chat, or maybe you can get to while it's thinking. Asking about the confidentiality implications associated with this product. Does it use the agreements uploaded for training data? Do you want to take that, Zach?
Sorry, I was looking at this. Say that one more time.
No, that's okay. We were asked what were the confidentiality implications here associated. Do we use it for training data?
Absolutely. Yeah, great question. And that's what I was going to go into. So, obviously, a lot of lawyers on this call, a lot of people in compliance. So, the way that our agreement works, we are actually using Gemini on the back end for this, which is Google's LLM. That's what we're using to power this Copilot. We do have a zero attention data policy with them. So, they do not have access to your data other than for the call itself to do the response. We do not train any of our models using any of our customer data. So it's zero attention data policy. They don't have access to it. And we have that updated in our terms of service. I'm also happy to share a document with you that kind of covers all of that, that talks about how we have security with the AI here at Concord. So happy to give that to you, but we don't use any of your data and the system doesn't either. The cool thing about this is I can also extend the side panel, which for the first time ever, we have that ability. So I don't have to just have that tiny little side panel. I can actually pull that out here. But look how cool this is. I asked it a simple prompt, hey, write me a clause that includes language about tariffs. It basically took that force majeure clause and added some language here about tariffs in the document, which is pretty cool, or in the clause itself. Now, if I wanted to, I could actually just copy that clause language onto my standard thing here. And this one's already a signed document, so it's a bad example, but I could edit that and then I could just paste that into the document itself. So kind of cool. I'm also going to ask another prompt here. Blake Cheskino, any questions so far in the chat or elsewhere?
Not a question, but one thing I'd like to point out. So one thing that's really cool about Copilot is that it remembers the context of your conversation, so you don't have to draft every prompt in its entirety from scratch. So you see the way Zach asked about force majeure, and then he says, write me a clause that includes language about tariffs. It remembered that he was talking about force majeure. So instead of just making up any random clause, it wrote him specifically a force majeure clause with tariff language in it. So that's really convenient. That it really is like talking to a smart colleague. They'll understand what you're talking about if it's in the context of the same conversation.
Absolutely. We do have a question here. Can the AI engine extract data from many similar documents stored in Concord all at once? Example, I have 100 confidentiality agreements on file with Concord. Can I tell me how many have a term of a year versus years? Great question. You are kind of stealing the limelight for what we're about to talk about. So as of right now, Copilot is only available on the document level, meaning it's like a one-to-one thing, so it's on one document. We are very close to releasing our system-wide Copilot, and that will do exactly what you're asking about. So once we release that system-wide Copilot, I'm going to say we're about 1 to 2 months away from releasing that. That will enable you to actually ask the questions about your entire database of contracts. So you can say, hey, what are all my contracts that have this term in them or this language, or create me a report based on these agreements. It will be able to do all those things. So we started with doc level, and we're moving to system-wide here very shortly. And Leah, great question about playbook capabilities. Right now, this is in forget mode. What that means is if I were to leave this document, all of the responses and the background that the Copilot has is going to be erased. It's only going to remember the things that I'm having this specific conversation about. We do plan in the future to release that memory mode where it's going to remember kind of what's happening and what your preferences are. And that's where the playbooks would come into play. Because if you can teach the Copilot, hey, I like to have this provision, or I want to have this governing law, or I want to have this limitation of liability as a standard cap, those are the things we want to add into it. So that stuff is not there yet, but that is something that we plan to do here quite quickly, actually. And then last one here, are there any preloaded prompts that can be harnessed for contract review? We just have these 3 prompts right now. So like, what are the risks associated with the agreement? This is a very popular one. A lot of people want to kind of just get a quick summary of what the risks are in the contract. So we have a few prompts that are at the top there. But outside of that, there's nothing else in there currently.
Yeah, that's right. And what I've been telling my customers too, it's like sometimes when there's so many options, you almost get it's hard to come up with anything. So if you're kind of feeling stuck, if you see the potential of the tool, but you need a place to get started and you would like some more prompts, just reach out to us, right? That's what your customer success team is here for. So if you need help generating some beneficial prompts that would be helpful for you in your operations, don't hesitate to reach out.
Yep. This one's really cool too. Cool too. Wow, it's really the end of the day for me. You can tell. So, what terms are unclear, and show me where these terms are located in the contract. So this is kind of nice because it'll actually give you the sections of the agreement where specific things are, and you can ask it this about any kind of term in the agreement. So right now it's showing us we've got a few things that are unclear. These are the different sections where they are located, and so you could go and find those and make edits or changes as needed. So we've already shown you it can do contract review. It can write clause language for you, kind of give you some examples that you could work with, and it'll also find things for you inside the document. So we've had a few of these webinars now where we've had customers kind of give us prompts or ask us different things, and it's really unlimited the amount of things you can use it for with contracting. There's just lots of different ways people are using it today. It's now been out for, what is it, like 2.5, 3 weeks now, Blake? Is that how long we've had this feature?
Yeah, about that long.
Time, I don't know what time is, but yes, about 3 weeks now, let's say. And in those 3 weeks, the usage has just gone through the roof. Like, people are using it like crazy. Our customers are loving it so far. So like I said, if you don't have it on your plan, let's talk. Let's figure out how to get it there. But yeah, that is the Copilot. Any other questions that have popped up?
No, we haven't had any, but don't hesitate. We might move on here in the presentation, but you guys, please keep putting them in to the chat, but not at this point.
Yeah, one
Awesome.
thing that's always top of mind, we did have a question about data privacy just in terms of how Concord operates, but what if we look for data privacy clauses within the agreement to see what it says about it?
Sure. Typing on a live webinar. It's my new favorite thing. I need to go back to typing class. My mom would be very upset with how slow I'm typing right now. There we
Yeah,
go.
what I find is it's a helpful. What I've kind of been telling people is, it's great for negotiating if you want, if you need a little help, get the creative juices flowing, or if you need help almost like finding that needle in your contract haystack. It doesn't matter how long your contracts are, right? It's going to save you a lot of time to be able to find it. So, and even I've seen some examples of some other customers say, hey, give me this, but do it in a paragraph, right? It's going to go with the more is more approach, but feel free to tell it how you want it, right? Feel free to say, the less is more. So we're hoping this is going to save you guys some time. And yeah, we're excited to hear what you do with it.
Yeah, like I said, you can also ask it. Like I do this with ChatGPT all the time because I use it for some of my sales stuff, and I'll just be like, "Hey, can you just make that a simpler response?" And it does a pretty good job of that.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But yeah, the good thing is, I think for a lot of people on this call that are doing heavy contract review, it's going to give you the data that you need, and you probably don't mind that it's going to be a little bit longer response, but you can also ask it to summarize that if you need to. So, yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah, and one great thing, I love the way it packaged it because, like you said, it's very thorough, but it's not something where you have to. I think we like with getting used to things like Google search, we've all gotten used to. Okay, I'm gonna have to search for this a few different ways and synthesize the results myself, try to figure out what it all means. And really, what Copilot does is it gives you that big picture right away. So again, like having a smart colleague who can just round up the information you need, point you to all the relevant clauses, give you an overview of what it all means, and point you to, I think these are a few things you should look at. So it really lets you get straight from, we're taking out the search step and we're letting you get straight to the part where you do the legal analysis and you figure out how you're going to tackle this issue during your contract review.
Yep. Yeah, so now that you've got that response, it's showing you what the weaknesses are. You can ask it to write you a new data privacy clause, and it's going to do that for us. So it's pretty cool, not going to lie. I'm impressed with it. Hopefully you all are as well. Cool. So yeah, that'll give you an idea. Brand new clause here getting written. Like I said, you can just use that copy button once it's done here, and you can just paste it wherever you want in the document. This is one of the longer responses I've seen. They must have opened it up, I think. Yeah, it's nice and thorough. Cool. Yeah, that's great. It also does translation services. I won't do it now because it takes a while, but on one of our other webinars, we actually had this same contract and someone said, hey, could you ask it to translate the contract into French? And we did, and it did a really good job of that. It just did it, right there. I just asked it to convert it for us. So it can do translation if you wanted to. There's just all sorts of things you can do with it. It's pretty cool. If there's no more questions for now, Juskina, do we maybe move to your next slide there?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll go ahead and share the next slide in my deck. Thank you for that, Zach. That was a fantastic demo. All right. So yeah, who can use this? We touched on this briefly, but I just want to make sure it's clear for everybody. So if you have AI, if you're a Concord customer and you have AI active in your plan, you can use Copilot. It's available to everybody who has an AI plan. So if you're an existing customer, you have an AI plan, you can just open it up right now and start prompting it, asking it questions, asking it to translate documents, whatever you need. If you're a customer and you are not on an AI plan, please go ahead and you can email Zach or Blake, but just get in touch with us. Don't be shy. We're happy to help. They will be happy to get you onto an AI plan so you can start using Copilot right away. If you are with us and you're not a customer, very happy to have you. Thank you for joining us. I've dropped this helpful QR code right here on the slide. You can just take out your phone, scan it, and book a demo. Or again, if you want, you can just go ahead and email Zach directly, book a demo, get some time with him. He can talk you through some of your specific, whatever your specific use case might be. So help you figure out how can you use Copilot and Concord in general for your organization. So I'll leave this up for a few more seconds. Go ahead and scan the QR code if you need to. Go ahead and get that demo booked. And then, like I said, we'll take a couple minutes. We've already touched on this thanks to some of your questions. very prescient, but some of you kind of led the conversation in the direction we're already going. But I'll go ahead and look at the next slide. Zach, would you like to tell us a little bit more about AI Copilot across the platform and what sorts of things people will be able to do with that?
Yeah, so this is what I was talking about earlier. It's going to be incredibly powerful, honestly. This is the feature that a lot of our customers have been waiting for many years now, including myself. I'm also very excited for it. So system-wide Copilot is the ability to have the power of the Copilot across your entire database of contracts. It's still going to have a lot of permissions, so you'll only be able to ask Copilot about things that you have access to. So if an end user has access to only certain folders, they'll only be able to ask questions about those documents in those folders. So all of that is kept in mind. We know that data privacy is the most important thing when it comes to these documents, but you're going to be able to ask it questions like, show me all documents that have a limitation of liability over X amount, or show me all documents that have this specific clause in them or in this jurisdiction or whatever. And it actually just pulls a list for you. And then once it pulls a list for you, you can turn that into a report in the system. You can also ask it to build a report. So you can say, hey, I want to build a report for my sales team that shows all upcoming renewals for all sales contracts in the next year. Those are just some examples. I mean, but you could really do whatever you want with it. It really unlocks your data in the system. Right now we have our OCR search, which is great because you can search across all your documents in the tool using that text search. But this is going to be definitely like 10 steps ahead of that, where it's not only doing the search, but it's also able to analyze your documents and pull things together, turn them into reports. So it's quite powerful. I've seen some demos of it. Blake's seen some. I mean, we've all seen some demos of it early on, and it's just going to be a complete game changer for the platform. So we're probably about a month and a half to 2 months out. Could be a little bit sooner than that before we release it, but we are quite close. Yeah, so we're excited.
Yeah, very cool. Very excited to see that. Yeah, and then just being able to move beyond like we saw today was already great, where you can just look throughout the entire agreement in a matter of seconds and get those summaries. But then stepping beyond that and looking at this cross document analysis, where you're looking at contract risk across your whole portfolio, trying to get a sense of trends across all your agreements. That really is a game changer. So very excited to be able to share that with everybody very soon. And we'll definitely have another webinar about that.
We will have lots of webinars about that. That's for sure. Absolutely. Yeah, reach out. I put my calendar link in there. If you want to do a quick account assessment, let me know, book some time. You can also just reach me out at that email there, zach.hensey@Concord app, or you can reach out to Blake as well. Some of you I know work with Vanessa. She's out on maternity leave right now. So reach out to Blake or myself and we're happy to help you. So.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you, Zach, very much for a great demo. Thank you, Blake, for your help answering all the questions. And thank you to everyone who joined. So, like we said, we're very excited. We are very happy to talk to you. So don't hesitate to reach out to Zach or Blake, or go ahead and hit that calendar link or book a demo. Plenty of ways to get in touch with us. But thank you very much. Don't be a stranger. We look forward. Just want to be sure, is there another question?
Actually, yeah, we did get one. Yeah, with the document only version of Copilot, what does Copilot offer the other programs? Maybe reach out to us given the time. I might need some more information for what you're asking for. So don't hesitate to reach out. My email is right up there, blake.youngdahl@concord.app, or Zach, but we'll be happy to help. Yeah.
Yeah. Please go ahead and get in touch. Like I said, don't be a stranger. We're very happy to be in touch with you. So thank you again to everybody who joined us, and you have a great day.
Awesome. Thanks, y'all.
Thanks. See ya.